that I brought up recently is the proposed changes on New Road are to widen the road at the junction. That junction on this side of the train station is already wide enough as it is for 5 lanes of traffic. You've got the one which goes straight over towards town and goes left down A38. You've got the turn right, and then basically the single lane going towards the train station has enough room for 3 lanes if they lined it up, and they want to make it even wider down to the first set of houses 50 metres down the road when it goes back to a single lane. Like, I think, you know, I'm half expecting the next set of plans to be proposing to knock people's houses down, because that's the only way they're going to make it wider along the there's literally no point to that, and they want to remove all of those laurels down there to do it, and it's why, you know, I mean, any of you who live around the area know that as soon as we get a bit of damp weather, all of that grass on that I say grass, dead plant is what it is most of the time, you know, it just turns to a mud bath. If they want to make the path wider, all they need to do is remove that dead piece of grass which just gets turned into a mud bath with the slightest bit of rain, and they've got their same objectives. But you know, it's just trying to, yes, that would be too sensible. So they're planning all of these things.
So do you have it? They're going to come and cut that tree down from August the 2nd.
Yeah.
And do you think that they will come and do that, or do you think
we have anything to do with it? That's what they say, but we're still pushing. We live more or less opposite the poplar tree, and we've got bats that circle actually in our back garden, and I have seen bats circling the poplar tree. We don't know where the bats are coming from, we don't know where they're going to. I just see them, so
that's good.
yeah, it is very good.
Stratford Road, they go down the back of the houses, you see them.
So we've got to evidence it. It's basically, I've got to capture them on video.
So can the councillors here not be able to?
Yes, possibly. I know there is a conservation councillor that I've got the number of. I don't know whether the councillors that are here are aware of the conservation councillor at Worcestershire County Council. His name is Carl Jukes. That's my next step, is to contact him, and apparently a bat survey can be done, but it's at a cost, so whether Worcester County Council will be prepared to pay for a bat survey, I doubt it very much, but we'll see. Yeah.
Can I
just bring a couple of those points together, really?
Sure.
Clearly, an iconic tree like that that's sort of like an
it's going to damage another iconic tree. We're going to lose 2 ancient trees. The 2 most.
That shouldn't be sacrificed for a cycle path.
Exactly.
However, I live by Sanders Park, where there is a decent segregated cycle path. I do see a lot of cyclists, even kids that go to school there. So, bringing that point into your point about the rat running of vehicles through Bromsgrove town, through Market Street, through Kidderminster Road, simply a weight limit on those roads in the centre of town would mean that traffic would be immediately reduced. All those heavy trucks that come straight through the middle of town, they've got nothing to do with Bromsgrove, they're just using it as a shortcut.
To Kidderminster.
They would be on the motorway, and they would be doing their 11-mile detour.
Or they could go north.
Yeah, exactly. They shouldn't be going through the centre of Bromsgrove. The reason that people don't walk and cycle more in Bromsgrove is because it's an absolute nightmare to cross the road in Bromsgrove.
Yeah.
So I think there's a whole load of things, like you were saying, really, that can be brought together. It's a bit like a bridge, isn't it? From a build a road for a bridge that isn't wide enough.
Yeah.
You know, people need to think about it a bit more holistically, and a cycle path isn't a bad idea. You shouldn't cut down an ancient tree for it. It's common sense, isn't it? Like Jack was saying here.
The other problem is that Bromsgrove's geography, you know, if you want to get from town to the train station, which is the main aim of the cycle paths that are being put in by this, there's no 2 ways about it, you've got to end up cycling up 2 relatively steep hills. the simple fact is, if you're on your way to work, you don't want to be getting into a horrible sweat before you go into the office all day. And when you're coming back home, you don't really want to be, going back home, getting tired, just because you've got to go back up those hills. You're certainly not going to take a detour that's going to add 15 minutes onto your journey. If you're going to do the journey, you're going to go up and over, down New Road, to the direct route. I mean, one of the suggestions, which again, we've put them in, we haven't fleshed them out to a huge degree, but it's taken a sensible option. Why don't we have a Bromsgrove licensing scheme for things like electric scooters? We're not about the kind of horrible schemes that we've seen over in Redditch where they get dumped all over the place. Schemes where people who have their own scooters and equipment will take pride in them and won't leave them all over the place, can get a licence to use them potentially on, if they do put relatively decent pathways in, to support them. So they can be licensed, they can be regulated, and actually make use of modern transport methods that people do use. I mean, we all see the electric scooters around town. I know there are a few, should we say, younger riders who are a bit reckless, but there are also quite a few sort of middle-aged and older people that I see going around who are very sensible with it and don't cause an issue at all. And it's taking the sensible option. That's the problem we're having. The council don't seem to want to do that. I think there's one with a question over here. No? Okay. So I'll pass it back to Debbie.
No, question. Just related to trees while on that subject. This is the first time I've been to any of these meetings, so forgive me if it's already been answered previously. As an engineer, my brain is saying, has anybody, either yourselves or the council or whoever, kept an accurate record of how many trees have so far been removed? Can they give an accurate figure as of today as to how many trees have been removed?
Well, I can give you an accurate figure of how many trees were removed between the David Lloyd roundabout and the Ford House Bridge. That was 272 mature tree stumps I went and counted. That was without the smaller trees and all the shrubs and everything.
And in 2022, they put in a pedestrian crossing.
I mean, things that I was going to raise is, particularly about the trees, I can't remember who, somebody said to me that apparently when the trees are removed, they are supposed to keep a count of exactly how many trees are taken out. Presumably will be to do with being paid for that job.
Well, my point with that is maybe a freedom of information request or something
We've
at this point to ask for the tree numbers. Is they've stated they will plant 2 for 1. If they can't accurately say how many they've removed, how can they accurately put a number twice that back in if they don't know what they've removed? So
yeah, on that particular point, if we go back to phase 2 of the project, which was the KFC back road, I call it, where I think it's meant to be a cycle, shared cycle thing. I mean, I've never seen such a pointless. From KFC to Bankwells or Harvington, I mean, there must have been, I would say, just based on what we've seen chopped down here, a similar number of trees must have been felled to accommodate that. A friend of mine that lives down that end went and actually counted the saplings that they've replanted. Since then, there's a grand total of 6 that have survived. So the 2 for 1 is the biggest lie I've ever heard. And also in one of the initial responses that I got from the council, they turned around and said that they will only plant within the boundaries of the project where possible. There is nowhere for them to plant. And that was why I asked the question, have you set aside any land? And I think Karen May turned around and said something about, was it Bournemouth you mentioned, or somewhere, they planted trees. But they're using that plot of land to cover the trees that were Whitford, the trees at Perryfields. It's like, it's rubbish, it's absolute rubbish, and they're not going to be doing that, and that's why it's got to be stopped before any more damage can be done.
We have a measure of the air quality, like trees and like
I spoke to somebody at the Environment Agency that They don't seem to be too sure where the air quality is tested. But if you actually go online, some chap online had to go at me saying that I was talking rubbish, but the only evidence of any air quality testing being done is down at Wildmoor, and that's where they test the Bromsgrove air quality. Nobody really seems to know a great deal about it, so I don't know that there is any actual testing going on in the centre of Bromsgrove. If anybody can enlighten us.
So if you pose the question to them, and they obviously know the science that if you remove mature trees and then put small ones,
there's lots of
how do
science.
they expect, like, you know,
Exactly.
to impact the air quality? You know, surely.
Yeah, I think Debbie's done some calculations on
The
it.
same as what you said earlier about those trees all dying. They've done a crossing just up from where Debbie lives.
Oh, I know, they put
And they were
half
not
of those are
watered
dead.
for a real drought. One died immediately, another one has never flourished, it's still struggling today.
There's only
They
two
need
that
a
are looking really
1 year
healthy.
maintenance plan. It's a shame to put trees in and leave them to die.
And they were quite nice, big, sort of,
Well,
not
it's a
very
waste
short,
of money,
right?
they're
But
30
they
to
weren't
45
saplings.
each.
Yeah.
And any garden show will tell you you need to water that tree for the first year of life.
The only reason that the two have survived on the Blackwood side is because the chap who lives on the corner used to go out and water them regularly.
Well, I kept watering one by the crossroads,
Yeah.
and I think they planted it into concrete, that's why it's
All
started.
along there is concrete, so
Watering
anything
it.
that's planted along there isn't going to survive.
We were promised no more trees would be felled in Stratford Road after 2022 when they put that pedestrian crossing, because they took 9 trees out to do that.
Yeah,
And
it's
the county council promised us no more trees.
yeah.
So,
I think that's an important question to ask. I'm not sure who let the contract. Is it government or is it Worcestershire County?
It's Worcester County
Okay,
that
so the
choose
question that they could be asked is about what is in the contract about planting the trees and maintaining. Are they paid for the survival of the trees, which is never the case?
So, in terms of that, what is in the plans is that they need to be, it says that they will be replacing them on a 2-for-1 basis, and there is apparently, though we've yet to find it and they've yet to provide the information, a 20-year plan for those trees to be maintained. Apparently, but we've yet to find a single shred
I
of
was going to
evidence
say,
of that.
I've read the one report.
And the failure rates, I've seen something on Twitter, I have to admit, but there was something and it was scientific, I can't remember where it's from, but there are stats about the poor survival rate of these kinds of replanting.
Yeah, so we haven't found a single thing about what that plan is, who's going to be managing it. You know, that's just what they're telling us. As we know from other plans, it's just they're going to plant a few in the ground and leave them, and nobody's going to follow up on it. Yeah, so
Yeah, on the air quality thing, it's interesting that if you read the environmental report that they started with in 2021-22, there is a section where the appendices covers air quality, and there is a monitoring point at the school.
right.
Which school? No,
Finstall.
it's Finstall.
Yeah.
Finstall. And there are various other places throughout Bromsgrove. Interestingly, though, Finstall is the only one, apart from Lippy, which has got any air quality monitoring.
Okay.
Where do you know where this is, or who's monitoring it?
No,
It's not the Environment Agency.
No, but allegedly they've been done as part of the environmental report for the BREC project.
Okay.
But I read one report, it was Jacobs. Yeah, I've read that one, and there's absolutely, I don't recall reading anything at all about them monitoring the air quality.
No, not monitoring, having tested.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's nothing ongoing.
Yeah.
So there's regular monitoring in Licky End on A38.
Right.
And and this is ongoing by the Worcestershire County Council, and the notes are on the website. And there are also the worst air quality is on Worcester Road.
and that's where Bromsgrove Extinction Rebellion will be demonstrating tomorrow and on the 27th. Also, there's a new monitoring station on at the Hundred Horse, which the new climate officer hasn't told us exactly where it is. And Bromsgrove Climate Action, which also has existed for 5 years, has been monitoring the number of trees that have been lost along the stretch of the A38 between KFC.
Could we have a chat afterwards so we can get this information from you? That would be really good.
Have you spoken to the Director of Public Health in terms of
In terms of air monitoring specifically, no, but as I we've brought it with the local Worcestershire County Council health officer about obviously the concerns that we've got for the various.
the Director of Public Health is doing a good contact?
Yeah.
Something else that we will be raising with them, I've noticed on certainly the area around the Slideslow Junction and down by the Morrison's bit where they're doing, it would appear that in those particular areas they probably chopped down a third more trees than they actually needed to. And the reason that they've done this is so that all the extra earth from their project that they need to get rid of, they are building, they're calling them sound bums. But the silly thing about it is, if they hadn't chopped the trees down in the first place, it wouldn't need to be a sound bum. And it's a cheap option of getting rid of excess earth because it costs a lot of money to take earth away from a project. And that in itself is infuriating. I'd say at least 120 trees did not need to be chopped down at all, just in this short section. It was so reckless, bordering on criminal.
I mean, this is one of the things that we actually have found is that Jacobs have a reputation for basically having no concern for
ignoring the environment and
based.
taking no care when it comes to residents. To them, it's just.
And where are they based?
They're worldwide. They're a huge company, like a big PLC. That do
They must have a local office.
No, they're probably based in England. Or no, actually, I think they're based in Birmingham. There's 3 offices, but we've spoken to various people who unfortunately won't be named, and they've all said to us they're probably one of the worst. They're very cost effective, cheaper option. Totally ignore everything.
So they haven't got a local office or anything?
I think Birmingham is I did have a look on their website. But yeah, I think they've got about 3 or 4 that cover project management around the country, but I know they are a worldwide organisation, or certainly a very big organisation.
I think the Birmingham office is really happy with this project.
Yeah.
Well,
All I mean is where do they all go to work if they get at them?
I don't think they get atable. We can't get at them to even have a conversation with them. Ultimately, Worcester County Council are responsible for this, and they're the ones that have got to. They're the ones that can revise it. They're the ones that will stop it or carry on. Like we say about the consultations that they're having at each junction. They're just playing lip service to us, and it's almost insulting because they're not taking a blind bit of notice to any of the objections they get.
Further to this chat about the company and Harvington Road, before they did it, I happened to be walking my dog along a few days and I saw different, about 3 or 4 men, diggers, doing things towards where the water comes out, the culvert area. And then the one day I went down, there was a gentleman who got, I don't know what you look through to measure things with, on a tripod.
Yeah.
A civil engineer he was. And I said, would you mind telling me what you're doing here? Oh, he said, we're widening the path. I said, is that for a particular reason? He said, yes, for the cyclists. I said, could I ask you why you've been here this week? How many cyclists have you seen? No.
That's the. I mean, okay, yes, if they do put cycle lanes in, it may encourage more people to cycle. But if they were actually putting some proper cycle lanes in, then we probably wouldn't all be known it. But they're not. They're not putting.
The other little thing he said, I hope they're not going to ruin this wonderful place.
Well, they've already started, haven't they?
And that company.
Can I just say that one of the last thing you said about the tree being cut down, the additional tree being cut down, are Bromsgrove Council aware of that? Is there anybody managing that project in terms of managing
I think the
the contractor? But if they're cutting 200 extra trees down, it's scandalous.
It is, it's criminal. But the biggest problem with our councils, no disrespect to any of you that are here, the councils don't speak to each other. If you speak to a local councillor, oh no, it's not our remit, you need to speak to a district. I mean, we've got a gentleman who owns some properties in the town and he's having a battle with a hole in the wall. It is owned by the council, but out of all three councils, you cannot get one single council to accept responsibility to sort his problem out. And he's come up against the same problem. You speak to one lot of councillors, no, it's their department. None of them speak to each other. So none of them are aware of this project or that, but it's not. I don't understand how you can have a series of councils where none of them know what the other one's doing. It just seems completely bonkers.
The point is, they get carte blanche, the contractor, to cut as many trees down as they want to. Who's managing it?
Well, the chap that was at the actual site manager, I can't remember his name, but he was taken off the project after those trees were cut down, and another project manager was brought in. So
Hewitt.
that's it. Yes,
Hewitt.
he was on permanent leave. We tried to contact him, and I whether it was a mistake. Well, initially we thought it was a mistake. But since then, when we've looked down the road, you can see they're doing exactly the same down there. They didn't need to chop all those trees down. All they've done is chop them down so that they can push all the earth up there and save taking it away from the project.
Yeah. And in terms of the actual sort of management and oversight of it, unfortunately, Bromsgrove District Council don't have any say on it, so to speak, because it's land owned and maintained by Worcestershire County Council, even though obviously it's in Bromsgrove. And Worcester County Council, despite everything we do, no matter how far we push this, Worcester County Council will have the final say. The only way that we could ever realistically get this stopped would be at the next election, council election, would be to vote in people sympathetic to our cause. We do have potential legal routes and potentially the council ombudsman, but again, we're talking things that will take months, if not years, to get pushed through, by which time the damage will be done. So we're hopeful that the momentum we're getting will get some change and at least get it paused so everyone can take a step back and take the sensible option. I mean, that's what we're aiming for. We're not trying to stop wreck in its entirety. We all know that there's issues around town with traffic need sorting. It just needs to be done sensibly, and that's our ultimate aim.
But wreck will never resolve the going east to west. That will never resolve that. And it's only about the end and that's what's so bad about the whole thing. It's such senseless. If you look at each junction on a case-by-case basis, there really isn't much justification for any of it at all.
Sam, I think you had a question?
Yeah, I did. So you have 8 county councillors in Bromsgrove and the elections are next May. What it is, as a district councillor for Chartford, I'm not democratically allowed to approach this topic with the county council. So this is why you have a district, you've got a district councillor Aston Fields here, and you've got district councillor Slicelow, and then you've got the county councillor who can approach this topic. Now, of course, I'm still interested in what's going on in my town, so that's why I'm here. So there is people, for example, you mentioned the town centre, that would be Mick Marshall, that's his area, he's a Labour councillor.
He's very supportive.
And he could address that person's point of view. But what it is it's the democratic process. People voted for somebody, then another councillor coming in and trying to help people, residents in that area who's not democratically elected, starts to cause problems because that's not a democratically elected person. My question, actually, so that's explaining that. There are elections next May, so yeah. Did this pass through the county council? And if it did, do you know when? When was the meeting that we could go back to and listen to the video or whatever? What was said, who voted, and who put their hand up for this?
Yeah, so this went back originally, as I believe it was 2017.
Do you know which meeting in 2017? Okay.
I don't have it with me, but I do have a record of it somewhere.
Okay. That'd be good to see who voted what.
Yeah, I mean, for example, we do know, for example, Kit Taylor. He supports everything that we're doing. He originally, based on the original plans and what was presented to the council, agreed with it and voted for it. Now that he's seen what the plans are actually entailing, he's changed his mind. The plans have changed multiple times, and we've also found, this is one of the points that I put into the letter to them, is things, there was an impact assessment done. And, for example, the tree felling, it mentioned obviously that going down the A38, it's dominated by the site of the greenery, which it was until I shot them down. The impact assessment of the work they were doing was put down as neutral or slightly adverse. So if you've got some, I mean, I was looking through this report and thinking, hold on a minute, how can the removal of all these trees be neutral or slightly adverse? I can't fault anyone who voted for the plan at the time. If that's what they were given and said, it's going to be slightly adverse. Now, for me, a slightly adverse change would be that maybe the trees got thinned out or chopped back slightly to make room for it, not that they were completely removed en masse. So, yeah, people are changing their mind. Unfortunately, and also fortunately, one of the people who was a councillor at the time and voted for the plans is our new MP, Bromsgrove. So he originally voted for the plans. He is obviously now arranging a meeting with us, Mark Bayliss and various other people, to sit down with it. We're hoping that he's changed his mind, because even though this is a local election issue, council issue, having an MP championing the cause is a big voice. They can actually then go to the government and sort of say, well, hold on a minute, you need to be looking in this from, a management perspective, a value for money perspective. Everyone's talking about public finances at the moment. Why waste 50 million quid on a pointless scheme?
43 million came from the Department of Transport and 6 million was put in by Worcestershire County Council. So that's why we go to the Department of Transport and to have him on board. It's certainly going to help with certain.
And again, it's one of those things that we like to sort of stress to people, is that this issue is completely apolitical. We don't care what party people stand for, what the councillor. We know that particular councillors and particular residents might not get along, but we're asking that actually this is bigger than the politics. We need people to write to their councillors, whether it's the county councillor or the district councillor, to say we support the revised rep plan, and get that message out there, because if we start piling those into those councils, they can obviously then present them to the relevant people and actually have a paper record, so to speak, or an email record that there's this objection. Which is why hopefully in the next meeting, do you think we're planning for September, is it?
Yeah,
September. We're trying to get as many of the councillors, district and county councillors here. A lot of them on the emails, which I've already spoken to, are asking for when that meeting is going to be, so they can put them into their diaries and give this priority. So we understand there's a lot of anger about it, but at the same time we want to make sure that it's being directed at the right people and the right aims, rather than just ranting at people for political belief or what they may have done in the past. So Kit Taylor voted for it originally. He's been one of the people who has absolutely helped, along the entire way. He's given me advice. He's giving names of people to talk to. He's talking to people in his party to help, people can change their minds, and, that's what we need. Oh yeah, sorry?
I understand all the formalities, and I completely understand the need to work through democratic processes, and that's great. But I think we're all quite sceptical about those, given what we know so far. I would like to know what we can do. You have a lot of people in the room here and out there interested. How can we keep in touch, and how can you ask us to help? What can we do? Whether it's direct action or petitioning, writing to our MP, or writing elsewhere, or using our contacts. I'm aware of some contacts.
Yeah, a lot of people have been emailing. I think the biggest problem that we found is that every time you send an email to your county council, they just automatically bat it out to the BREC team, the project team. We get little or no response whatsoever. And even, the emails that I've been sending to Simon Geraghty, it's just a polite thing back from his secretary saying, I've passed your concerns on to... And the last email, I actually said to him, why will you not speak to us? And I put some really point-blank questions to him. And again, I got no response whatsoever. I think it's actually really quite shocking that these people are elected and they ignore everybody.
The county council meeting?
Yes, so you actually, so on the Thursday just gone, anyone can turn up and ask a question to the council, present something to them. You give them 3 minutes to do so, and then they have to give you a reply. I believe at the moment they're working to a 3-week window, so hopefully within the next 2 weeks I should have a reply from the letter put in. If they ask, they might ask for more time given how much was in the letter. But yeah, in terms of actually keeping involved and doing things, the best way, because we are on it almost all day, is by the Facebook group. So if you do have Facebook, get onto Facebook, get onto the revised BREC group. If you send a message, either of the Debbie's or myself will pick it up, read it and reply to you.
Rosemary's Twitter still.
It is, but there isn't a great deal on there. We've got more followers on Twitter now than we had before, but I don't know if they're local.
If there is somebody that's happy to... The trouble is, we work and we don't have enough hours in the day as it is. If there is somebody there that is willing to actually set up an email, I'm useless with technology. I've got all the kit but no idea kind of thing. If there is somebody that is willing to take charge of an email account, I'd be more than happy to sort of pass that on. I know there's data protection issues in relation to having group email, but as long as everybody is happy that other people are seeing their email addresses, then I don't see that would be a problem. But I unfortunately just don't have enough time to respond to that as well.
It's definitely something we're looking to sort of gain a better sort of communication system going in, so we can actually put requests out as well as take obviously questions and feedback.
You can have a broadcast group on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Again, you're not going to get bombarded, but you can send a message out to everybody.
Yeah, we'll I'll probably sort of look into sort of setting up, say sort of email for people who prefer email, or WhatsApp for people who have it, because obviously we know that people have different preferences. It is one of those things, just making sure that we can try and keep as many people involved and up to date as possible. But as Debbie said, I'm sort of doing this between, all my work as well, which at the moment, I do IT work, yes, it's seasonal. The sun comes out and people decide they want to spend money. So, given the rain, I think I have nothing to do at the moment. But, we're into July and I'm very busy. But we will definitely try and do that, and we do need to. In terms of what you can do I would say just try and respectably be a pain in the council's side.
Email.
Send them emails and send them freedom of information requests relating to the project, because they legally have to reply to freedom of information requests. If all of a sudden, so if you send in a request and sort of say, well, I want this information, they have to reply to you. And if all of a sudden they're getting swamped with requests which they have to reply to, it's going to start turning heads and they're going to start passing on to superiors. Well, hold on a minute, why are we getting all these requests? And that's what I'd suggest. If there's something local to you that's happening, find a reason to stick a request in. Sorry?
How do you do a freedom of
Just
information
ask the question and say, under the Freedom of Information Act, could you please give me
That doesn't cost you anything.
No.
Yeah.
Email addresses we're writing to on the website.
Say again.
What email addresses we're writing
Yeah, we did put them up. They're on the Facebook page. Everything is on the Facebook page. You can hear there. I mean, I know it's not people's old postings.
I just make the point that I actually go back to the charity, what you experienced, and what I started to do was chase Mark Bailey.
Yes, if you start,
And he actually, eventually, I got something back.
I mean, if you want to
that's the way to do it.
put Mark Bayliss' email address in your thing.
Yeah, I mean, we actually have put all the main contacts on the Facebook page. Who to contact.
Just put that page out again and keep it
Let's
simple.
go into the budget, which is
Yeah.
the Brexit.
Yeah.
You actually target one person.
Okay.
Well, Mark
Just
Bayliss
is
is the man.
accountable.
He's the one that
Would you mind reading out his email address?
I'm pretty sure. Is it Mark Bayliss 2 at Worcestershire.gov.uk?
Yeah.
All one word.
Yeah.
I also, by the way, asked for comment on how they were monitoring how fast Brexit were answering questions.
Yeah, obviously.
Mark's had lots of Mark with a seal, Mark with a proper way. Mark Bailey's with a C or with
I think it's with a
C, I think.
With a C, yeah.
Yeah. Is it double S?
I'm sure it's Mark Bayliss, yeah.
Mark Bailey.
So it's mbayless2@worcestershire.gov.uk, and that's MBAYLISS2. So Sam?
Yeah. So do we have a set of demands? Like, is it like bullet point number 1, we want this crossing, for example, that you said, that crossing should be scrapped because it's not going to be effective and children are going to.
Yeah, so at this point, the demands that we've sort of put in is to pause the project and have a review. And in that review, we're going to look at the specific points, look at the specific junctions, look at specific plans, and take a common sense approach. Will this achieve the objectives that you set out to do? And hopefully that's going to be part of the meeting with the MP and Mark Bayliss, that we can actually do that.
Can I just ask people to, if you are on Facebook, if you can message us with your thoughts on them making the Slideslow Island into a 4-lane island, which is the proposal. 4 lanes, I mean, they have conceded they're now only going to put one lay-by on the centre. I mean, why would you put a lay-by on the centre of an island? I really don't know. But just message, you could come up with alternatives. Just your general thoughts on how dangerous the island is since they made it 3 lanes going into the O'Course and south. Because I'm pretty sure when it was only 2 lanes we didn't have quite so many accidents. I mean, we're always aware of accidents because we live on the Stratford Road and we just stop it. Yeah, sorry.
Just a short question. You mentioned that the council, the county council have changed the plans over the years. How do we get the authorisation to do that?
They have a...
How do they authorise to do that? And were the public ever consulted about the amendments?
I mean, it's one of those things that...
Josh answered that, didn't
Yeah, it comes under a lot of red tape, and they...
Basically, they can do what
they like. They can do what they...
Because I always question about the retaining wall.
the officers without telling anybody. This is always the problem. This happened
Yeah.
before.
And I think this is also why things like the public consultation at New Road has gone out, the public consultation at the A38 Stoke Road has gone out, because they have made these changes, and I think they do need to do the public consultations, even if they just do them to throw them in the bin, for lack of a better description. I mean, we are aware of the time because we are limited, so just take one last question.
Have you done any freedom of information requests to Westminster Police thinking about accidents?
I've done that. I've had it back, yeah. From 2015 to 2022, there were 51 accidents on the island. The majority of them, and that's only recorded ones, people that have shut the cars off themselves and the police haven't attended, they're not recorded. And the majority of them are on the bit going down the Stratford Road, going too fast, hitting people before the junction, and the other side of the island going onto the Oakles, people coming down from Redditch, hitting people. That is one of the main. There's constant accidents there.
So do we need to do them on any of the bits of the stretches at all?
I don't.
I mean, again, it's probably one of those things, it's worth putting in.
So I'm aware that the other island, by David Lloyd, there's been accidents there previously.
Yeah, they're not touching that island.
No.
No, so it's not technically part of Brown.
They're changing things coming down from like that'll go from 2 lanes to 1, so people that might impact streets.
And just one final point on the Stratford Road, there are actually proposals and plans put in to increase that from 30 to 40 mile an hour.
And that's the thing. I've been aware of this for some time, and it's actually the Road Safety Partnership that are asking for the speeds to be increased. The police are opposing it. They have said they've never heard anything so ridiculous. And their argument for raising the speed limit was because the cars come down there so fast, it's obviously a very quick road. I mean, the accidents, there's been 5 accidents so far this year. I mean, how that one guy walked away from his van, he must have been driving, the whole front of his cab was just caved in. He just drove straight into a stationary vehicle. People come down the hill so quickly, and you're just waiting for somebody to die on that, and they want to bump it to 40 miles an hour.
Can I come in on that note? Well, 40 years ago, I was chairman of the North Bromsgrove PTA. The 30 mile an hour limit started on the school playfield. And we got Hal Miller was MP at that time to push it down to the roundabout. So that took years to get. It moved at 400 yards.
Yeah.
But the 30 mile an hour was just opposite the school playfield.
Yeah. I think the other issue as well, another thing that the county council are opposing, up by the Hanbury turn, they're trying to get the speed limit reduced to 30 miles an hour up there. There's been 3 fatalities in 2 years up there, and they still say that 40 miles an hour is absolutely fine, even though 3 people have died around that stretch of road. I mean, it just goes to show they really don't listen.
Unfortunately, tonight is the last meeting we can have here at the Methodist Church. We've been allowed 3 meetings, so the next meeting I've managed to book the Ryland Centre on New Road. Again, unfortunately, the only slot that they have available is Monday, the 23rd of September, 4:30pm till 5:30pm, which I know a lot of people that are working, they're going to struggle to get to that meeting. But
if we do have any updates, we will obviously let you know. We'll put them onto Facebook, we'll reach out to people, we'll get the posters put around town. At the next meeting, we're hoping that we've made a lot of progress with councillors, getting them on board, and if all goes to plan, we're hoping that we actually get a big turnout of councillors at the next meeting from all the parties, and get that sort of out into the media, get it pushed out, and yeah, hopefully, you know, all the stuff we've got in hand will result in positive progress being made. You know, at the end of the day, it does come down to Worcester County Council being cooperative, and hopefully we push them in the right direction. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, we have overrun by about half an hour.
Yeah.
So
if you've got any spare change, there's the donation tin on the table as you go out, because we make a donation to the church to say thank you for allowing us to use the hall. So thank you very much for attending and supporting.
We currently have 2,390 signatures on our change.org petition page. We'd like to thank those of you who have already signed, but we do need lots more. To go to the petition page, please click on the link shown. Thanks for watching.